Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Heartland Mamas. I'm Marie Briel.
And I'm Heidi Henry coming to you from two socially distant studios at the edge of the Great Red Divide. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. on the live stream, we bring you the news of the Democratic Party, democracy, and of progressivism to the areas that may not have heard it before. You can find all of our previous episodes at heartlandmamas.com, on all podcast streaming platforms, as well as on YouTube, proudly part of the Demcast USA network. And today is New Year's Eve, Murray. And people can be listening to this podcast at any time. 100 years from now, they should understand what the hell 2020 was all about because it was freaking terrible. Murray, it was
Yeah.
horrible. It was scary. It was bizarre. It was insane. I don't even know. So the thing is at some point, COVID was not the worst thing we were dealing with. I know that sounds weird. The COVID-19 was not the worst thing. So Murray, tell
I
us
don't even know
some
if
of
I
the
would
things
say
that were,
worst, but definitely weirdest. As
yeah.
we begin, I feel it is important to let you all know that I have been bestowed with the New Year scepter from my darling son, and it's a really, really cool scepter. But this dubs me the Queen of Killing 2020. Although a lot of us have claim to it, I have the wand and the show, so I get to call it. Yeah, Heidi, 2020 was absolutely bat crazy. And mentioning bats, we have COVID, but we're not going to talk about the standard stuff we usually talk about today.
Hmm.
We're going to talk about the weirdest things that helped contribute to this year, even in the best year. Okay, in the
Hmm.
very best year, you may have an epidemic like swine flu or even a pandemic, but typically everything doesn't collapse at once, and that's exactly how this felt. And
Talk
you know
about
we
disease and pestilence.
right, right. I mean, there were days that I really woke up going, which one of the horsemen is here today? Like, I
It's
don't
knocking
know.
on the door today.
We definitely had pestilence. We had plague, and literally the bubonic plague was found in not one but two countries. Yes, the disease that wiped out countless human beings during the Dark Ages due to rats. It's back and it's coming for you. So that was one of my fun things in 2020. Heidi?
Well, I think that one of the best things I heard of is an event that went on despite COVID. And they weren't sure they were going to hold this event, Murray. They were just on the whisker edge of canceling the Kung Fu Iron Crotch Championships in China. I'm telling you that they launch stuff into men's crotches, and whoever can stand it the longest is the Kung Fu Iron Crotch champion.
Ding.
Now, you would think this is just a COVID thing, but this has gone on for hundreds of years.
It's a
As my
tradition.
mother used
It's
to
a
say,
tried and true
it's a
tradition.
tradition that they just couldn't give up for COVID. So I just want to let you know, but I could not find the Iron Crotch champion for this year, but we do know the championships went on
All
despite
right.
COVID.
How it doesn't really matter how bad things are. The Iron Crotch Championship made it through, and that is a delightful moment. Now, I have to say something here. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of the craziness, aside from the politics and the societal bullshit, but a
Yeah.
majority of the craziness that we experienced came from nature. I believe that nature is pissed at us, and that is it. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
we started
Oh yeah.
2020 with Australia on fire. And the whole
Oh
country of
god, that was
Australia
awful.
basically burned for 2 months. You know, and it didn't get much better after that. Locusts were invading Africa in January of last year. Does that feel
Yeah.
like 10 bazillion years ago to you?
Oh my gosh! Remember when we did a show on that because they were really concerned about the drought and the locusts and this big sandstorm that was like driving the locusts across continents. Remember that, Murray?
And the
The
whole
sandstorm we could see all
sky
around the world.
turned red. Yeah, yeah,
Red.
yeah.
Yeah. We did a story about that early in COVID when we thought we would might be done with COVID by maybe June. You said no, but I was hoping
Let's get
to
it
have a horse
right.
show
I said
season.
no.
Yeah,
I said
yeah.
no.
But yeah, the weird stuff that happened.
We had,
So
you know, every year there are catastrophes. There's hurricanes, there's tsunamis, there's earthquakes, there's
yeah,
wildfires. But it wasn't just Australia that was on fire. It was everywhere. Freaking
California,
Kansas.
Cal-
Kansas in the middle of the United States was
yeah,
on fire,
fire.
which and not even from the oil fields. It was I don't know, man. Mother
They
Nature.
had an unprecedented they had an unprecedented drought in part of Kansas. And once you get an errant match and a spark, everything was tinder dry. We even had some wildfires in Morris, Illinois that almost took out some houses in September. It just was going crazy with fire.
And we say that there's no such thing as climate change. That's so funny. You know,
Oh,
when we talk
okay.
about the fires, right? They were in multiple countries doing massive destruction. But I think that we started the year in January with Australia being on fire, and I think that was
Yeah.
sort of the foreshadowing for the entire year because the entire year has been a giant dumpster fire. I
Oh
mean,
my God.
honestly, the world has been on fire both figuratively and literally.
Literally.
And when do both of those at such a just a huge scale coalesce?
Yeah.
It's a little beyond me.
Murray, I'm wondering if maybe Kansas didn't rake its forests. Except I've been to Kansas. There are no forests, but
Heidi, you are 100% right. I do believe that Kansas is not doing good forest management, and that's why they're on fire. It's the only thing
that's
I can.
why.
Or the dust bunnies are getting frisky. I don't know, the tumbleweeds, friction
Oh
from the
my gosh.
tumbleweeds.
It's
I don't know.
so vast and it's all this kind of golden color out there. It's really quite pretty, but it's vast. And I can't imagine stopping a fire once it starts, I mean it's just so huge out in Kansas. So, Murray, the other thing that we have to talk about is that when you think about animals that live in Australia, you might think about a wallaby, right? They're like little hopping kangaroos, but they're not kangaroos. They're like small kangaroos. And I didn't know, but one lives not too far from me. It lives out in like the LaSalle, Peru area, and
Now, for
it
those
got
of our
loose.
listeners who maybe have missed Heidi talking perpetually about living in the middle of farm country, as I do, we're talking about a temperate climate, um, lots and lots of farmland, and some factories and highway, and that's pretty much all that's out there. So I just wanted to set this story up for the true
Well,
weirdness of it, Heidi.
yeah. So I start getting messages on my phone that the police, there's a huge police action in the LaSalle, Peru, Twin Cities area. And I'm like, what in the world could be going on? And these are like
Remember,
5,000
there's
people
like a
towns. They're not
hundred
huge, but
people live in both towns combined.
they're bigger than that. Anyway, so there's probably about
My
20,000
God.
people in that area. But there's major
That's if you
highways that
count the
go through there with
cows.
yeah, Interstate 39, which is a major south road. So they're talking about they have to block off the interstate and they have to block off Illinois 251, which is also a big highway down there. And they're stopping it, and the police are chasing this wallaby, and he's hopping like a madman. He's just hopping, and he's running away. And wallabies, they kind of get him trapped, and then he'd leap over a 6-foot fence and take off. And they had the whole place closed down,
That
the
is
whole
awesome.
place, like
And
15,
everybody's
18
rooting
miles.
for the wallaby, right? Like, I'd have been cheering on the
Oh,
wallaby.
oh
I'd
my
been like,
God.
go,
How the hell did
wallaby.
a how the hell did a wallaby get to LaSalle, Peru? Finally, you know how they caught him, Murray? He hopped in the Illinois River and he was hauled out by some walleye fishermen.
That poor
And they
wallaby.
wrapped him up in their coats and they took him to the animal hospital. And the wallaby, whose name is Wally, is just fine. He's just
Oh.
fine. He lives in somebody's house, Murray, and he wears diapers and he hops around their house. What the hell is that all about? I mean, at what point does it go, I should have a wallaby in my house? I just don't get
No,
that. I
no, no, no.
barely like it
Hey,
when we
hey,
have more than one cat in my house, you
hey,
know?
hey, hey. I'm going
So
for otters. I want otters in my house, so I totally get the wallaby thing, man. I think
my house is not
otters
wet
are
enough.
legal in the state of Illinois. I'm pretty sure they are. I
You
think
can
that was
have,
one of the
I
bright
was,
spots of 2020 was like 17 states let you have otters, and Illinois
oh,
is one of them.
well. I had a coyote as a pet for a long time. I just had a permit, to have her. I found an ugly squished puppy on the road. I didn't know it was a coyote. Who knew? Boy,
Heidi,
she was an ugly dog. So
this year has been a year of animal craziness.
yeah,
From the sheer size of the animals that we found,
yeah.
like the dog-sized lizards that have left Florida. Of course, it's always Florida. It's you, Florida. It's always you. You always start the
Dog.
shit, Florida. God bless it. Fall into the ocean. We talk about the weather changing. We talk about how severe it is. We talk about the craziness of the viruses and the solar storms. And guess what? It's time for, if you want to reclaim us, universe, get rid of Florida.
We just have to cut Florida loose from the contiguous states. I keep telling you, there's that Bugs Bunny cartoon where he's sawing off Florida. Bugs Bunny was ahead of his time with that one, you
He
know.
was totally ahead of his time. But everything we see, we had giant goldfish, right?
Yeah,
We had
9 pound goldfish in South Carolina.
giant lizards. We have deers stealing rifles from hunters. No, seriously.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
remember when Betsy DeVos said that teachers needed to be armed to protect the students from bears?
Right. Well, she
She
didn't
might
take
have
it.
been right.
She might have been, well, she should have been saying
She
not bears, but deer. The deer are coming
she's
for your AKs.
well,
Not
if
me, not Democrats. It's going to be the
the
deer that are going to take them
deers.
away.
We had
We,
blood stealing monkeys. Monkeys in
that was in
Indonesia
India.
stole
Yeah.
COVID positive blood samples from scientists as they walked across college campuses. So when we think about all this crazy animal stuff, we can't forget the GMO mosquitoes.
Oh, we can't.
Now,
We
remember
did a whole show on those.
in
Sex, death, mosquitoes.
February,
Yeah.
GMO moths appeared. In June, we released thousands and hundreds and millions and hundreds of millions of genetically modified mosquitoes.
What can go
In
wrong there?
November, right. Anyone seen Jurassic Park? In November, we have the use of genetically modified pigs to make them not meat so they can be used for medicine. I'm
Yep.
not sure. All I'm saying, people,
Guinea pigs.
is the universe is blowing up. It is telling
Yeah.
us I'm not happy between the
Well,
viruses and nature and the storms and the locusts and the animals rising up. Animals stealing blood? Wait, what would you do with blood? Weapons? What would you do with that?
the animals have a plan. And here, Murray, is where we need to talk about some of the ways people are protecting themselves from animals. Because in Israel, they no longer use horseback and bullwhips to move cows. They now use, oh, what do they have? They have those drones. The drones are collecting the cows now. I think
That's going
they're
to put
afraid to go
about
near their cows
12
based on
sheep
everything.
herders out of business. Talk
I'm
about
just
economic
thinking, at
hits.
one point, are you so worried about your cow you're sending this drone after it and not just going out there on your horse and moving it or your ATV, you know? But here's something else weird that people have been getting back at animals for this uprising, this animal uprising we're having.
George Orwell.
There's a guy in Indonesia. Yeah, well, there's a guy named Friedel Priada in Indonesia. He's a school teacher. And you know what he's doing? He's making haute couture for cats. So you can get your cat any outfit you want, or hijab, or you can have him be anybody in history. It's cat high fashion.
Okay,
I don't
I
know
gotta
if I were
say,
I don't think I would put cats in high fashion. I think they will really come for you with a gun. I think cats are just like,
Yeah,
we're this close to losing it. This
if you
close.
think about all of the animals out there that are domesticated or could be domesticated, I think the least
Yeah.
likely one to be dressed up would be a cat. It will kill you.
They don't like that. My daughter bought a Christmas sweater for her cat, Kiki. Not good. It was not good.
So,
She shouldn't have done that.
aside from all of the natural disasters, from plagues to pestilence, we had some man-made stuff that was pretty insane as well.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that sort of blew me away was when Adolf Hitler was elected as the council member for Namibia.
Yeah.
He's a good
Well,
guy, not the real Adolf. He didn't know his name was Adolf or what it meant. So, yeah, Adolf Hitler was elected to office.
yeah. And his name
Uh,
has to go on everything. But, I don't know that they teach a lot about World War II in that part of Africa because it wasn't really involved in World War II. North Africa was, but not most of Africa. So poor Adolf. I mean, can you imagine being saddled with that name? And Murray, something else. We've done a whole show about the QAnon weirdos. How they're just a weird bunch of f nuts, and in conspiracy theories. And it's gotten so bad that in Wisconsin, a QAnon theorist also worked at a hospital, took 500 doses of the Moderna vaccine and thawed them so they couldn't be used because they believed that vaccine bad. That it's going to have a tracking device in it. I'm like, are you serious? We're in a global pandemic and somehow this got in your head? It's not funny that we lost 500 doses, but holy cow, when your brain can go there, you'll have
okay,
a wallaby in your living room next. So
okay. Well, and part of the problem with the Q theories has been the lack of transparency from this administration, from the government. It's been a hot mess. They
yeah,
haven't done squat, right?
right,
So, I mean, a part
right,
of all of this, but everything that has happened that is so odd plays into those types of people's beliefs. Like they have
right.
found, we found it, proof. It has been admitted by multiple nations and the heads of various departments that
Israel,
UFOs do exist.
Israel.
Israel, the
Yeah.
United States, that UFOs do exist, which
And that
leads.
they have some type of communication with Donald Trump. There's some type, and that's why we had to make the Space Force. That I mean, seriously, Murray, when you and I did that story earlier this year, I thought, what the hell is wrong with people? What's wrong with you? So,
Yeah, if there's something wrong with people, I'm pretty sure I can find it. I'll be the one to find
yeah,
it because they find me. I don't know, the weird stuff. Just we get along. We're
I'm
like
just
this,
thinking
man. We're tight.
if space aliens are coming down, I guarantee they're not mercantilists. And I
How do
guarantee
you
the last
know?
person on this planet. Oh,
Soylent
well,
Green.
Ferengis. Ferengis would be mercantilists.
I mean, and I know we've talked about this, but
I never thought about
the
that.
the universe, right, has a way of writing itself. And
Yeah,
there have been times that major Earth events have happened that have poisoned the Earth, and it's come back. So when you combine nature with the extraterrestrial element, you gotta go, man. Between you, like Heidi, you mentioned in the pre-show, like the Aztecs, right? Well,
well,
I
in
know.
Mexico City, they just found an Aztec tower of skulls. They didn't even know was there. I know I didn't write it all down, but that was. You can just Google Tower of Skulls if you want. And I ran that by, and you said, Heidi, that's another dark thing because I kept coming up with dark, weird stuff that happened this year because so much of it was dark.
It was
So
kind of
much of
dark.
it was just, yeah.
But I
But
can say one of
Marie,
the brightest spots for me this year,
yeah,
aside from getting some really cool reactions from my kids and how they're handling all of this. That was
Yeah.
very cool, but I think that's a testament to Gen Z. Now, Heidi and I've had shows on Gen Z, we've done them before, and I'm going to tell you that generation is the one that is going to fix whatever the hell we don't. I mean, just look at K pop,
Yeah.
okay? K pop has
Yeah.
grown in popularity over the last year and particularly exploded in the United States when the kids who followed K pop
Yeah.
pranked the president and booked up as many tickets as possible to his rally, and no one
I
showed
thought that
up.
was so great.
Now, then you've got TikTok, right? So,
Yeah.
TikTok is another avenue that kids have used, but it's not just ridiculousness, it's social commentary and even YouTubers. I can't tell
Yeah.
you how many parents I know get so annoyed at having their kids watch someone play video games. And I know your son did it, but
Well,
it,
but
it
he
is
also watches it all the time. I'm like, people watch you play, but then you also watch people play. When I don't know. I don't
and
know.
that's the whole thing is that these amazing ways and in every aspect of that I have seen this year, issues are being brought forward, and it's predominantly by kids and Gen Z. They're the content
Yeah.
creators. They're the ones who even animes. They're the ones driving the message. And so to me, K-pop fans punking Donald Trump and like letting him think he had bazillion seats sold was the best, which is why we have Section 230 right now, folks. So
This is
remember when
this
Mitch the
is
bitch pulled the bill on the floor and said, no, 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 we're going to tie it to Section 230, it's
this is why
because
you're
of
not getting
TikTok.
$2,000 is because of K-pop fans. This is why.
Yep,
This
pretty
is the real.
much.
Yeah, Donald Trump had a temper tantrum because he thought he sold out a huge arena and he didn't. It was all the TikTokers and the K-pop people
Remember,
that
he wanted to
bought up all the
sell
tickets.
TikTok. He was forcing it to disband, and the guy's
Yep.
nuts, folks.
And
We are
yeah,
quickly approaching the end of the year, and before I give my final spiel to make everyone feel really, really bad about next year, I do
yeah.
want to say a shout out and a happy birthday to Dr. D, amazing producer, friend of our show. He is fantastic. So happy
Dennis,
birthday.
not a doctor, not a doctor.
He's a doctor of like technology. He's a doctor
Oh,
of production.
Dennis, Dennis, if you're listening, doctor of technology.
Doctor of technology, baby.
So he, great guy, very helpful for this boomer that really doesn't understand technology. He's been such a huge help between him and my son. It keeps the show going sometimes, and in Murray's son. But at this in this studio, it's those two guys. But Murray, I did want to talk about one thing that we didn't cover. There's been some really unusual things that have happened this year because of the COVID shutdowns. And there was a French circus family that was performing in Belgium just at the beginning of the pandemic. And they had with them camels and wallabies and ponies and zebras. And when COVID shutdowns came through in Europe and they closed their borders, they were stuck in a parking lot for 4 months with elephant poop, camel poop. Oh, and they set up their tight ropes and they would just walk around for. And the acrobats would come by and the jugglers for 4 months. It was a free show in the parking lot, but nobody could come because everybody was on COVID lockdown.
COVID restrictions.
But
That's
they were
just insane. Oh,
so
I think one of the biggest animals that I forgot to mention, or insects, nature things, were the murder hornets. Those were fun, if everybody remembers those.
yeah.
So that was kind of in like what, April, and just made it so that it was that much more challenging.
It was, and I think about when the killer bees came and when the fire ants came, and now we have it, and those were years ago, decades ago, and now we have murder hornets here and wild feral hogs that are like tearing up fences all over the like southern Illinois. We have feral hogs running loose because
We
people
have
turn hogs loose.
bobcats.
We have what?
Bobcats. in Illinois.
Well, honey, Illinois always had bobcats. It didn't always have wild hogs. I saw a
Yeah.
bobcat in Elmhurst in 1967.
All right. Well, the bobcat thing was little too a Little House on the Prairie for me. I don't know.
Elmhurst was a suburb of Chicago. It was a pretty big one. So that's where I
But
grew up, though. I remember jumping over the fence into our backyard and going, and then telling my mom, and she didn't believe me, but the other neighbors saw it. So, you know, it was just like the time I told her, oh, this is really dry, though. I told her when Kennedy was shot, and she slapped me. So, because she thought I made that up. How would I make that up, Mom? So, I was just watching Bozo. It's like one of those, where were you when something happened? Where were you when murder hornets happened? Now you can say where you were. So, but there's some things to look forward to. Everybody saw the dancing robot video except for Murray, where the robots are out there just dancing, and it was so
they're not robots,
fabulous.
they're aliens.
Oh, that could be. That
Don't
would
even get
bring
me
it
started.
full circle.
Don't even get me started on aliens. But
Oh, anyway.
there are a few things I would like to say to our audience. Really like to say thank you guys. Thank you for all your support, for your sharing, for the downloads and the views. We have
Mm-hmm.
grown insanely in the last year, and we appreciate you guys letting us come into your lives. We really appreciate Canada. Rock on, Canada! As we trend in Canada, and we really appreciate our newfound friends south of the border in
South.
Argentina.
Yeah. And,
So,
and Portugal. We have a following in Portugal. Who knew? I don't
right.
know any Portuguese, but thank you. So,
But I do want to say this year has been crazy, and as everyone counts down and gets ready to tap in the new year,
yeah.
remember 2020 is a construct created by society and has no bearing on the universe. The universe doesn't care that our calendar is over.
Nope.
So while we may be happy it's over because that's how we mark time, I
It's
wouldn't
not over,
expect the
Murray.
start of 2021 to be any better. Don't get your hearts broken when
Yeah.
February comes and we are all swimming in gargoyle piss. I don't know. I don't know.
Try. I had my planner out. I always make my writing students lay out what their goals are for the next year. So I had them make two plans. One if we have a show season, and the other if we don't. And I'm thinking we probably won't have a show season this year. I just don't see it happening. But I do have big hopes for
Well, if
2021.
jackass Q Anon people will stop destroying 500 doses of the vaccine, maybe you would have a show year.
You know, today I had to go to the farm supply, my favorite place to find mask holes. And right next to the pancake house in Morris, that was packed with people, just packed with people dining indoors, right next to the farm supply that I just dread going in. And because, 3 of 5 people in there don't have a mask on, and I have to go in to get stuff for my farm. And it's like, oh, God, here we go again. I have to go in there. You should see my daughter and I coming out to our car with the Lysol and the hand sanitizer. I'm like, I got to live through this to see how it ends. I got to see how 2021 ends, because I don't want to get sick and miss out,
Well, I'm going to
So,
tell you the mamas, as long as we are not abducted by aliens, shut down by Section 230,
Murray, you froze.
or disappeared, we are going to be coming to you next year as well. So enjoy your night.
Yep.
Happy, happy New Year. And remember, it's just another day. So
It's
peace.
just another day, and next Tuesday we'll have, I'm sure, because everybody asks, what are you going to do after Trump is gone? God, there's so much out there. Jim Jordan is not going away. There's Mitch McConnell. We're still going to have to deal with those assholes. Pardon me. Oh, I did it again, Murray, and I said I wasn't going to cuss anymore. But here we go. This is an ongoing saga. It doesn't end on the 20th of January. The fight really begins then.
So,
So here
guys,
we are.
thanks for being
Happy
our
New
fans.
Year.
Thanks for tuning in. Always feel free to reach out to us on all of social media channels. You can find us at wherever you get your favorite podcasts. YouTube if you want to look at my awesome scepter and the goofy places, the goofy faces that we make. And you can always find us also at Heartland Mamas.
MAMAS.com, all podcast platforms, YouTube, partly part of the Demcast USA network. Thank you, Demcast, for carrying us for all this time. We appreciate it. Take care now, everybody.
Happy New
Happy New
Year!
Year! Woo!
I'm binging it out good.
Okay, great.
Happy New Year.